Chapter 19. Coasting. Baja is very dry, Jude said. How do the Sacs survive? CAMO is not good at farming in the desert, Sonja said. Many Sacs have survived because we can bring life out of almost nothing. Where there is more water, we can grow corn, lettuce, even tomatoes. Where there is less water, we grow grass and raise cows. We build houses on stone and raise crops on every patch of land that we can sprinkle with water. Now CAMO is taking even these lands away. Why? Jude asked, his engineering brain racking itself to understand what value CAMO would find in the deserts of Baja. That's why, Sonja said, pointing out the front window. Between the main highway and the coast, southeast of Houston, was a vast area of endless pipes, giant drums, angular buildings, and a network of small roads. At what looked like a decidedly secure and uninviting entrance, there was a large sign that read Beaumont Desalination Plant. Underneath in block letters it read CAMO. I can't believe it, exclaimed Jude. CAMO is their own water source. We see these pipes and tanks come into Baja, Sonja explained. Wherever they go, the Sacs disappear and the land turns green. 100 years ago, this was all oil refineries and pipelines. They have replaced and maybe even retrofitted much of the infrastructure to create usable water. With this kind of operation, they could transform all of Texaco and Baja. They could grow whatever they want in the desert, Jude said, his mind racing. I think they started in Baja, Sonja said. We are poorer and our land is drier. First comes the tanks, then the pipeline, then the big machines that till and plant the soil. Next come the soldiers. That's why they're being more aggressive about moving kids to CME schools in Baja. Once the kids are in the city, the parents are more easily persuaded to move to be near their children. It's a very coordinated effort between the Department of Education and CAMO, Jude said. New America is going back on its promise to the Sacs. Thanks for my next headline, Zara said. Here are some insights. For context, Zara and Jude are speaking to Sonja Orozco. She is someone that Zara met when she was in detention. When they were down by the Gulf and she didn't have a passport, remember, she was taken into detention, given a temporary passport. Well, she was in there with another woman named Sonja, who was living on a sack in Baja, which is what we would call Mexico now. And she basically was run out. CAMO and the Department of Education and even the New American Defense Forces have moved aggressively in Baja to basically not just squeeze out, but overrun and destroy the Sacs. They have built desalination plants and are pumping water into the Mexican desert and are able to turn a lot of that arid land into farmland. But in doing that, they're running out the Sac residents, many people who have lived there for hundreds of years. So Sonja is explaining to them what happened, and they're realizing, what they're up against at this point. Sonja is going to be a major ally. She's going to be a leader, not just a Sac leader, but a leader of many Sacs of really that entire region. And another thing that is kind of strange to think about when immigration and the Mexican border, the southern border, is such a point of discussion and contention and drama and all of that is, what would it be like if there was no border? New America is one country. And Mexico is part of that, as well as the other Latin American countries south of Mexico. That all makes up Baja. And, in this future when up to 80% of people are underemployed or unemployed, there's not the same draw. People are not fleeing from Mexico to the United States for work when there is no work. So, that changes the whole dynamic, So now we have the Rio Grande and what used to be the U.S.-Mexican border. But nothing's there now except the remnants of, old pieces of wall and fence and the river. So it's a weird thing to think about. But things change very quickly when your economy changes quickly. So coming up in Chapter 20, the Sparrows have had a good run. They have helped a lot of the kids beat the tests, and they haven't saved all of them, but they have helped the Sacs save most of their kids from getting extracted to CME schools. So they've had kind of a victory there. Winter is coming, and so they have returned to Slate Creek to be with Mom and Dad, and we're going to pick up there in Chapter 20 next.